Hey, what's happening, fellas? By all accounts, we got baseball tonight, so let's get into this bad boy.
Yeah, I know that the Minnesota Detroit games got postponed, but you know what? That means nothing to us.
Was that weather or was it?
Weather, because remember we were looking at there was like bad weather in Detroit.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if it was weather or they decided not to play.
I'm hoping it was weather. I didn't really look into it. I'm
Okay.
hoping it was weather though.
All right, guys. Well, they just popped them too. Overlay's got MLB contests up today, and they dropped the NFL contest for the 13th of September as that approaches real quickly, guys. Uh, Soon, Bellman and I will do kind of our first thoughts video on the NFL, which I'm excited to talk about. And don't hesitate to get your money in on the $22 progressive jackpot prize, which is up to $6,000 or almost $6,000.
Yeah, it's pretty damn. It's getting up there. We'll say that.
All right. Interesting slate tonight. I know we say that a lot, but we talked this one over for a long time. Did a members only video first. Only Skype didn't actually give it to us, so we had to give the condensed version. Either way, we kind of like the slate.
Yeah, kind of like it. Hoping that the weather stays away in a lot of the spots, but like I mentioned, the Detroit game wasn't on the site anyway, so that looked to be the worst of the weather.
As day passes are up. Everything's available through the website. The link's below. Subscribe to the station if you're new to it. Thumbs up is appreciated. Let's talk about pitching, guys. For a big slate, not a ton of great options on this one. We know who some of the more popular pitchers are going to be. Another guy that we continue to bring up on this show and talk about a lot is a guy that you've been like very high on for a while now. And lately it feels like I've been kind of the bigger Zach Gallen fan. Either way, this guy's got like 15 plus DK points in every single start this year. He's been extremely consistent. He's kind of in that weird like 9-7 price tag range where you can use him as a low end SP1 or high end SP2, depending on what your roster format and build are going to be for the day. And quite honestly, he showed me a lot last start. So we talked about him a week ago when he matched up with the San Francisco Giants. And if you track the games or watch them, he had his worst inning of the year in the first inning against the Giants. He walked 2 or 3 guys, gave up a couple of hits, and then after that dominated San Francisco for 5 innings. That shows me a lot for a guy because a lot of times starting pitchers don't have their best stuff in the first inning, and then they kind of get it going. But to get out of that and still throw one earned run ball through 6 innings and give up another quality start, that's a young man really maturing.
Yeah, you're 100% right there. Struggled in the first inning, really bared down, and was able to pull it together. The fact that he ended up with like 20 DK points in that start is remarkable. Still is 0-0 on the season, which is also pretty crazy.
That's an odd stat, is it not?
Yeah, it's very odd. Here's my question for you, because when I first read the low end SP1 or high end SP2, I thought you were talking like literally like in
price more than anything.
Yeah, that's what I got what you were saying in price. I thought you meant like for an MLB staff. So just for shits and giggles, because I love these questions. Who would you rather have, Gallen or Clevenger?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm
trying
to think about because we haven't seen the real Clevenger yet this year. He really improved throughout his start last time, very similar to Gallen's start. But last year, Clevenger was dominating at points.
He was. The fact that that's even a question says a lot, and it's a question for me, man, because I really like Gallen's makeup. I like the cut of his jib. The fact that he was able to get out of that start with 20 DK points. I'm sure this is a spot where I feel like he's happy he's facing the Giants again because he's going to be like, okay, I wasn't on last time and I still pitched well. Watch what happens when I have a good feel for it.
That's the mark of a true professional pitcher, and that's why sometimes it's worth just paying up for pitching because these middle tier guys that you're trying to get lucky with just have so many starts that ruin your lineups. Where these true professionals, you know what I mean? Like even though they don't have their best stuff early, they fix it, they adjust, and they end up just giving you something that. Maybe he didn't win you GPPs last time out, but the 20 points he provided was solid.
If you're only a one lineup type of guy, it's hard to make a lineup without using good pitching on a consistent basis.
Agreed. All right, moving down from there, we got a bunch of offensive plays we like today. Watched a lot of the Mariners yesterday because I watched almost the full Padres-Mariners game early on. Really digging on the Sam Haggerty kid who is now on a 10-game hitting streak. You pointed out this morning he'd been tearing it up in the minors. He bats on the top of the lineup against a struggling Andrew Heaney. And most importantly, he doesn't need to knock it out of the park for a lot of points because he's such a stolen base threat.
Yeah, exactly. Real good spot. Nice filler piece in all formats. The only thing we don't love about him is that he's taking outfield. There's other outfielders we like. There's other outfielders on the slate and play. But other than that, man, he is he's a nice look in all formats.
And what would be your guess? He's still kind of a little bit of an unknown. I mean, I'm sure most of you guys probably don't know a ton about him. I mean, nor do I. I'm not going to pretend like I do. But he's batting on the top of this Mariners lineup, who's actually kind of feisty and playing well right now. They've seen Heaney a few times. Heaney's been struggling recently. I bet you get him at, I would assume it'd be relatively fewer buyers tonight. So,
yeah, I was going to say, like, it's whatever his ownership is like negligible. It doesn't matter. He's certainly not going to be like chalk. And whether he's 1% owned or 9% owned makes no difference. Do you agree?
well, I mean, if he goes for 50, I prefer the 1%.
Yeah, no doubt. But I mean, like, I don't think that he's going to be a guy that people are like running towards. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But again, this is a big slate, only 3 outfield spots. Like, I just think you play him if you like him.
He's the guy that stopped me from winning GPPs on the 2-man slate yesterday, or the 2-game slate, because like the 7 or 8 lineups ahead of me all had him in it with his stolen bases.
It's the worst.
Yeah, it happens though. All right. Another guy that I was looking at a lot this morning, and then one of the things that we get by kind of talking these things out is, you watch a lot of baseball. I watch a decent amount myself, but we can't watch every at bat of every player. So I'd been looking at Alberto Mondesi at 2,800 and knowing that he's a good fantasy player who's been off to an awful start this year, right? He can do multiple things. He can hit for power. He can steal the bases. Looking at the stolen base in back-to-back games, I was like, all right, I'm starting to get intrigued at this low price tag. And then you gave us some extra tidbits that I'll let you get into.
Yeah, so I watched a lot of his at-bats over the weekend. Or not over the weekend, in the middle of the week. It is the weekend now, so it wasn't over the weekend then. It was in the middle of the week, and they were in St. Louis, and I watched a lot of his at-bats. And he didn't have a great weekend offensively, but you could just tell that he was really starting to see the ball better, lined out a few times. As you mentioned, when he got on, he ran. And as you also mentioned, like, he's not only a good DFS player, he's a good player. Has been awful this year, no doubt about it. But coming into this year, you ask average Joe, you ask a baseball insider, whoever, like, who the 3 best Royals players are, like, he's making that list. So I know that he hasn't been good so far this season, but at this price point, knowing that he's seeing the ball better, knowing we kind of like KC here, I'm intrigued for sure. I'm definitely liking the slate more that we talked it over.
Lopez is about as hit or miss as they come, and you never really know what you're going to get out of him. And I think the point on Mondesi more than anything, how many guys do you get sub 3K that have his upside on a daily basis? Because this is a guy that if he hits a home run, triples, and steals 2 bases tonight, I mean, it's no surprise to me. When you see a guy like Nicky Lopez do that, that's a shocker. But Mondesi doing that would be no surprise because that's kind of what you expected him to be to start the season.
Yeah, man. The more we talk about him, the more I like him here. Like, the big game is coming for him. I'm not going to be surprised if, like, he's not going to go on a Machado type stretch because he's not that guy. But if in like 2 weeks he's hitting like 245 instead of 214,
and he's 4,800 on DK instead of 2,800.
Exactly.
All right, next up. So let's talk a little bit about Coors Field. Interesting game. We wanted to bring up Will Myers at the very least just to kind of go through this game with you guys. A couple of pretty decent pitchers going tonight in Freeland versus Davies. We got weather concerns right there. So it's not a night where like you have to like sell your soul to play Coors Field. Are there some pieces in play? Of course. You mentioned Manny Machado is the hottest hitter in baseball, but Will Myers is a guy. I mean, he tears it up in Coors Field like Matt Bellman out on the disco floor. It's just absolutely something to watch. He crushes left-handed pitching, and he's only 4,100.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're not all in on, as you've said a couple times, jumping 2 feet in the Coors pool here, but it's hard not to at least take a look at a couple pieces, especially when you've got guys like Tatis and Machado and the other side Arenado all at close to or above 6K. And then you've got Myers, who has amazing numbers in Coors, is hot, is having a good year at, basically 4K. He makes too much sense in cash games. He's a fade at your own risk in tournaments.
Yeah, he gets up to play here too. He's tormented this place in his career.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last up, another outfielder, a guy we both like a lot tonight. This is a guy I've been using a lot lately, and he's been playing significantly better. And that is former most valuable player Andrew McCutchen, only 3,800 tonight. He's a very good hitter against left-handed pitching. I think Reed agreed on this one. We're not at all scared of Erlin. He's sub 4K, and McCutchen's got 7+ and 9 to 10.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we talked about Philly as another team that might go under the radar a little bit. We like them. McCutchen's been solid. I expected when we pulled up his price tag to be like 4,500 or above. Was shocked to see him 3,800. Sounds like you might have thought the same thing.
Yeah, I was going to say 4,500 in my head, and I think we both just said that number because it's an even number. You know what I mean? It's a 500, it's just 44, 46. So we're kind of thinking the same. Like, that's what I expected.
I expected somewhere around there, man. He's too cheap here. I'm not sure who he's priced to face. Soroka's been out for like a couple weeks now, so I can't see it. He's just too cheap, man. Erlin is, a lot of meh, but then you're going to get into this Atlanta bullpen. McCutchen is better than Erlin. I like this play a lot everywhere.
Yeah, I always like Kutch against lefties too, so sign me up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Click the thumbs up button. Have yourself a great day and best of luck this evening.
Thanks, guys.